Man, woman, child, everyone would have had a knife.
I'm Emma. We're on a project with Heritage Blades, and we are a 13th century medieval cutler's workshop.
I'm Finn. I'm a second year blacksmithing student. I'm helping smelt these knives.
So what we start with is actually iron ore. So that's this red mud here, which would have to be mined or dug up and then dried and put in a furnace with lots and lots of charcoal, heated to about 1,300 degrees for several hours. And at the very end of that, you pull out a lump of solid iron. So it's not cast, it's not liquid. It's actually a big, hot, solid lump of metal called a bloom that comes out looking quite volcanic and has to be hammered down to refine it into bars. And then eventually it becomes knives.
Once the iron's been hammered into a bar and refined, it'd be handed over to blacksmiths. We'd work it through a process called lamination. So the blacksmith would forge the blade, which would then be passed on to the cutler, apply handle fittings.
This knife here is one that was made last year on the iron smelt. So it's been made from bloom iron. It's very simple. It's just got some little decoration on the handle there. Everyone would have carried a knife around with them. It was a really personal item. Today we think it's exclusively as weapons, but people back in the day, they were tools. They were symbols of wealth. So you could have a knife as simple as this one. You could have something a little more elegant, but still relatively rough and ready. It's just a simple little knife that can be held like a pen if you need to do any crafting, if you need to mark leather, but it could also be used to eat food with. And you have anything up to and including kind of a much bigger, showier knife with a very thick spine for doing hard field work and whatnot. Its finish could tell you a lot about the person who is carrying it. It's much like a badge of honor if you have a very fancy knife. But then again, if you're a poor farm worker and you just need something that's good to go and good to use, any knife will do. All three of these examples are using deer antler. This one here has obviously just been unfinished, aside from having some little marks put in the bottom just as decoration. This one's been polished up to a sheen, and then it's had the cow horn and the copper plate added. This one's got just one little sliver of cow horn, little band of deer antler there. And again, it's been polished up to a nice sheen, which takes time, effort, but it does mean that it's a much nicer looking knife, and it's much showier as well. Quite often the handle is the bit that everyone's going to see, so you want to make sure that it looks nice. Man, woman, child, everyone would have had a knife. Having a knife was a sign that you were not a vagrant. Vagrants were people who were so poor they'd had to sell everything. You could be thrown in jail for being a vagrant. So if you still had your knife, you were free and clear. It'd be the last thing you'd want to sell, and if it broke, you'd probably take it to a cutler and ask them to just make you a smaller knife from it.